Well, I think by taking this initiative to declare a ceasefire, President Putin shows his desire to negotiate. He wants an end to the conflict, and what's a more memorable time than celebration of Victory Day on May 9th. And it's going to be longer than the previous ceasefire. And now we just got to see if Zelensky of Ukraine will reciprocate in kind. The fact that Kursk has been retaken, I think, is indicative of the fact that he has no leverage. He originally wanted to take Kursk, thinking he could use it as leverage for peace discussions, but he was disabused of that notion. And frankly, a lot of strategic planners in the West couldn't quite understand his tactics. So in trying to take Kursk, he just had no way of maintaining or expanding that role, and it was doomed from the start. And in doing that, frankly, he pulled critical troops from his line, seasoned troops from the Donbass line that prompted and allowed Russia to expand even further and much faster. His tactics have been abysmal. His strategy has been a failure. And now I think he just has no other options. I think now that he's coming to a conclusion that he needs a ceasefire, he's still hoping that that certain Western countries, such as UK and France, may come through for him. But they've already said that they can only do that with U.S. backing. Previous experience would indicate that, notwithstanding their desire for a ceasefire and negotiations, both, the Kyiv government has reneged. The most prominent example was Minsk II, and they had actually signed, or they had initialed an agreement before it was signed, but in between, you had the Brits and the Americans getting to him, said, "Don't sign, continue resisting, and we will back you 100% for that quote for as long as it takes." Trump had gotten an agreement to withhold any further bombardment of energy structures within both countries. And Russia immediately stopped, actually shot down some drones that were heading toward some energy infrastructure in Ukraine, actually shot down those missiles, their own missiles, to prevent them to be in compliance with that agreement. And Kyiv ignored it. So, and went right ahead and bombed areas inside of Russia that were energy pipelines and what have you. And so the history of compliance by Ukraine is highly questionable, if not non-existent. And we'll have to wait and see if Zelensky, as a result of his most recent discussions with Trump, and coming to reality and seeing reality and having virtual agreements made between Steve Witkoff of the U.S. and President Putin himself on the U.S. proposal, that whether Kyiv will go along with that. You have the Europeans again back behind him say, "Don't do it, don't do it." Here's an alternative approach, which basically calls for continued war, and that's a non-starter, particularly for President Trump. Trump's overarching geostrategic idea is to reestablish normalization of relations with Russia, and so that we can as strategic partners, so that in the world, to meet world conditions, the United States, Russia, even China can begin to work with one another.